Yeah,
Just not
yeah.
having that kind of pain and abuse anymore in our life.
I think that's the main ups. When you look at the ups and the downs, it's always the relief of leaving a physically or spiritually, financially abusive relationship. Any type of abuse. If you're escaping abuse through divorce, that's a positive. If you're escaping, if you're righting a wrong, where you know you flat out just, often like with when you're young, sometimes you make a decision based on sex,
Right.
and you want,
Absolutely. Lust.
yeah, and if you make a lustful decision and you get a chance and you really come to a repentant place, and your pride does, because I think pride is the number one thing that keeps some people in it, because it's like, okay,
Hmm.
everyone else knew you got married for lust. You didn't want to admit it, and now you don't want to back out of it, and it's like, you know what? It's better for you to get to that place where you know you're right and you're going to go back and do it the right way.
Pride is a funny thing when you say that because some people won't, just won't, not
Yeah.
can't, but won't do what is the effort that it would take or the changes that would be necessary to actually make the marriage healthy
Yeah.
because of pride.
Yeah, that's in all honesty, without pride, I think we would all probably stay married, like right away. Or, I mean, like everyone, divorce wouldn't be a factor if everyone had a selfless attitude
Uh
or,
huh.
about things. It's just, I know pride for me personally when it came to the process of divorce, um, that was a big thing. It was a big thing throughout the whole thing, like that allowed it to draw out as long as it did. Um, it was 100% pride, and
Well, I do. Would you agree or not agree that two people would need to say that they would do whatever it would take to make the marriage work in order for it to be successful?
yeah, and yeah, you have to. And the scary part about that statement is that means you gonna have to,
Change.
yeah, set aside your pride and
Both people would
yeah,
have to make changes. It's
yeah,
not ever just one person, not one
yeah,
people. But it's both people that would have to make some sort of change. And, sometimes it's not even a huge change that would make things work a little bit differently and would feel so much better for people.
yeah. No, it's
Sometimes just tweaking something a little bit would would make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and when it comes to marriage, you're making a decision to be with this one person for the rest of your life, and that is a big statement that I think people don't look at because they say, okay, well, you know, in all honesty, I would definitely say for my generation, we came in right after a big boom of divorces throughout the country, and you grew up seeing divorce, so this idea that you're going to be with a person for the rest of your life sounds like it's something from the Bible or something from a fairy tale or something
That
that
couldn't happen.
that our generation views are things that are just not real.
Mm.
I personally know it to be real, and I know that it is a plausible thing. I see examples in front of me, but to be honest with you, I know that I'm also an anomaly. Like I know that I'm not like everyone else, and I know that not every African American young man that's 34 years old has a friend who's been married 45 years.
Right. That's true.
So I know that's I'm different in that way, but I still look at it from a standpoint of I got good examples, so I use them. There's always a few good examples every now and then. Grandmothers aren't, and grandfathers. I had a grandmother and a grandfather who was married for a long time.
Mm.
Now, am I gonna go as deep as to say that the marriages were always perfect? Like, I'm not gonna ask you and Mike if your marriage was always perfect.
Well,
I'm
no.
happy that you guys are still together.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
marriage is always
yeah,
perfect, but you know, if two people have the idea and the belief and the agreement that this is what we're going to do and we're going to make this work,
yeah,
I think that's the at the basis for it. That when I ask people, well, how many times have you split up, or how many have you all threatened divorce? Once that word starts being thrown around, that's very dangerous and
Yeah.
it's very hurtful.
It is a very dangerous word.
Very
Yeah.
dangerous word to throw around and to threaten.
Yeah.
And if there's threats being made, then there's other things that need to be discussed,
Well,
as well in counseling.
I think one of my suggestions for most people who are going through who are in marriage, I would say definitely leave that word out of your marriage. Like leave the word period divorce
Mm-hmm.
out, because it's deeper than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Very hurtful.
yeah, and it's saying that who you are, I don't want to be with,
Mm-hmm.
because you forget to, I don't know, close the
Empty
the trash, or because you do things a certain way, all of a sudden I don't want to be with you. That is a big statement to make, and we don't want to casually throw that around. So I think entering into marriage, making a decision ahead of time, like really taking a realistic look at it and saying, okay, this is what it's going to be for the rest of our lives. We are going to make a conscious decision to be together forever.
And to make that a priority. We sometimes what I've seen in counseling is that people have gotten kind of lost in that regard. They have not kept that as the priority, as the number one goal, and have, because we're human beings and we make mistakes. A lot of what I'm seeing is that people get involved in other relationships and make that the primary focus. And it is things like alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. When we'd rather go to spend time at the bar with our friends than be with our mate. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a problem. And so alcohol, drugs, pornography is another huge, huge underminer of a relationship and of a marriage. Being involved with anything too much, like spending all your time doing something, even going to church. It can be religion. It can be anything.
And I think that's the thing, is making sure that you're conscious of the fact that, okay, the decisions that I'm making, where's my spouse in this?
Uh-huh.
Once again, going into marriage, you have to be able to make a statement of saying, okay, I know that, I have this career or that career, and I'm willing to put it aside if I had to for you. Knowing that you're willing to do that for, but not saying that that person's asking you to, but internally just asking that question, are you willing to do this for them? Are you willing to change your life for them? Are you willing to do any of these things for this person? And if you have a whole lot of no's, and you wanting them to just join you in everything that you're doing, that might be something to think about before you enter into marriage.
Yeah. Well, premarital counseling is important, and